Hi showmates, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we'll be learning how to make this beautiful blue dress with a Basque waistline. Actually, this video is long overdue because I initially posted how to make the arch shape at the back, but I've been having issues with space for a very long time. I tried deleting everything, but it was still not working. I even went ahead to get space by buying. I went ahead to buy space, but I couldn't do that. My card was rejected. Anyways, now I'm able to finally put this video out. So if this looks like what you like to learn, then you need to see this video to the very end. The main purpose of this tutorial is actually how to get the arch shape at the back of this dress. I went ahead to do this drafting just to save time. Anyways, it's an easy thing to do. So I'm going ahead to label the chest line, the bust line, the underbust line, and as well as the waistline. So I have the waistline and 16 inches. I came down by about 7 inches to form the Basque waistline, but I'm coming down by 2 inches below the waistline. I'll go ahead and mark this out and take a quarter of the measurement at this point. So a quarter of the measurement I'm using right here is 7.5 inches. So after marking this, I'm going to go ahead to connect it to the waistline measurement above. So once that is done, I'll go ahead and now trace it to the initial bust. For better understanding and clarity, I'll go ahead and highlight this part with marker pen. So now that this is ready, I'll go ahead and cut it off. So just watch the way that I'm going ahead to cut it off. For this design, we're going to be separating it on the waistline. That means we have an upper bodice and the lower bodice. So right here, I've gone ahead to cut out on the waistline. Then I'm coming down to cut out this. I made a sweetheart neckline at that part. So you can do whatever you want for this upper part depending on your preference. And if you don't know how to get this type of bustier, you can check my previous videos. I have videos explaining how to go about this from start to finish. So at this point, I'm done cutting for the front piece, and this is what it looks like. I'll bring in the lower part of this front and I'll go ahead and close the dart. Remember that there was a dart that connected downwards, but if you like to, I don't like to sew that on the lower piece, so I'll just go ahead to close that up so that I will have the exact waist measurement. But if you want to sew your own dart on the lower body, this is fine. So moving ahead to the back piece, I'm sure you're wondering how to do this. I already have a video, yes, a video to, and it's very short on how to cut this back. Yes, in fact, I recommend that you go see that video first. I think I'll drop it in the description box, yes, so that you watch that first before this one. Anyways, it's not so hard. I realize here I still want to alter this a bit. You can see that it's the same measurement as that of the front. I'm also going to go ahead to mark 18 inches from the shoulder line, just as we did for the front piece. So I'm marking 18 inches right from the shoulder line. I'll rule it out, and from that part I'm also going to go ahead to take the measurement at that part. So you can actually leave it at 16 inches depending on your choice, but I wanted it to come down a bit more. So depending on whatever you want, just do. So after taking the measurements, I'll go ahead and connect. Make sure that when you're taking the measurement, be mindful of the zipper allowance. So I'm taking the measurement away from the zipper allowance. So please do not make that mistake of not considering the zipper allowance. So once this is done, I'm connecting it right to the waistline measurement on that 16 inches. Then I'll connect it downwards to meet that Basque shape. So for this neckline, I'm going to be adjusting it a bit. Yes, I realized that I didn't want it as wide, so I'm using freehand. Actually, even while I was drafting in the video that I told you, I actually used freehand, so you don't need even any tool to be able to do this. So for those that don't have all this pattern master and all of that, it's fine. So I've gone ahead to just trace what I want out. I also want to adjust the length of this, so I'll be doing 9.5 inches from the shoulder length. That means about 1.5 inches higher than the initial one. So I'm going to also be using my free hand to be tracing, just as you're saying. So the good thing about pattern paper is that you can adjust as much as you want. Imagine I had already done this on a fabric now. So pattern paper helps you to see if you have what you really desire. So I'm altering as much as I want to right here on the pattern paper. And now that I've realized that this is what I want, I can go ahead to start cutting it out. So I just want to say that it is really important that you work with pattern paper. You should really, pattern drafting is like a must, because it helps you to correct your mistake, to adjust whatever before transferring to fabric. So I recommend it anytime, any day. Now this part is very, very important. You need to be very careful when cutting this out, and you need to make sure that you follow the shape that you already marked out. So I'm going ahead to do that, and as you can see, I'm doing this slowly so that we can all see that it is not really, there's no need to rush. Yes, there's really no need to rush. If you are familiar with this channel, you understand what is going on around the waistline. Anyways, for anyone joining this channel for the first time, or seeing a video on this channel for the first time, what I do around this area is just to avoid bulging at the back. So I create something that is similar to a dart and then cut it out. This is not mandatory. It's just I just do this extra just to make sure that I don't have any bulging around that zipper area. After I was done cutting, this is what we have. If this looks like what you like, then you can go ahead with it. But if not, you can still go ahead and adjust it, since you're still working on pattern paper. But this is already looking like what I wanted. So I'll go ahead and bring in the lower part of this and see if it all fits. If you notice, I didn't add that to the back. I usually don't like that on the back. So here as well, I didn't add that to the back. To determine how much fabric you'll be needing to make the gathers at the lower part, just measure this basque waistline. For the front, I have 12 inches. For the back, from that waist, that 18 inches. Measure it here. For the back, I have 12.5 inches. So let us work on the front first. 12 inches, since the front will be on fold, you have 12 times 2 will give you 24. Then, depending on how full you want it to be, you can use 2, you can use 2.5, or you can use 3 inches. But I am using 2.5 here, so I have 16 inches. For that at the back, 12.5 inches times 2 will give us 25 inches. Then 25 inches times 2.5 inches will give me 62.5 inches. So this is the width I'll be needing to make the gathers around that bottom. I have to apologize at this point. I lost some videos here. So right here is the fabric that I'm using. Is a crepe fabric. It's medium weight, and I'm also using a lining for this. But I misplaced the videos in which I was cutting out the fabric using the pattern paper. So just bear with me, but I'm going to explain it. It's not going to affect you in any way. So right here, I've already gone ahead to sew the lining. I've cut it out, and I've gone ahead to sew the back. This is the back piece, the fabric and the lining together, right side facing right side. I started from the neckline, then I went ahead to this love shape, following that shape, and I went ahead to sew on the side. So I used hemming gum so that when I iron it will lay flat. So if you don't have any hemming gum, it's still going to be okay, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, you can see that I've already gone ahead to turn the first one out. But for this thing to really, this part to lay well, you need to notch that area, that art or loved shape. I need to really emphasize is that you need to maintain that shape. If not, you're not going to get what you want. So here is the front piece. I've already gone ahead to attach the side of the front to the center of the front. I've also done the same thing for the lining piece. So here I am placing the lining piece on the fabric, right side facing right side, and I'm going to go ahead to stitch with 1/2 inch. Yes, I think I said before that I lost the video of when I was doing this for the back. I'm so sorry. So go ahead and run a stitch of 1/2 inch from one side to the other as I'm illustrating. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and run a top stitch on the lining piece, then give it a good press. So right here, this is the back piece, one piece of the back, and this is the other piece. As you can see, I've gone ahead to iron both pieces flat. Next thing to do is to align both pieces together, right side facing right side, then run a loose stitch around that zipper region. So I'm using pins to hold this down here, then I'll take it to sewing machine and run a loose stitch here. So here is what the front piece looks like after I went ahead to turn with the lining. I've also gone ahead to iron this, and the next thing to do is to bring the back pieces and I'll align it with the shoulder line for the front. So what we're doing is we're taking one piece of the back and one side of the front and would align at the shoulder and go ahead to stitch down, fabric to fabric, lining to lining. This method of stitching the shoulder ensures that the rough, that's the part that we sew, is not visible. That is tucked inside. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So once I'm done with this part, I'm done pinning, I'll go ahead and repeat the same process to the other end as well, and I'll use 1/2 inch to stitch it down. Please note that while you're doing all this, you keep ironing. We can't overemphasize the importance of ironing after sewing. So I've gone ahead to iron all those parts that I sewed down, and this is what we have. This is the front, and I'll go ahead and bring in the lower part of the front. Yes, this part. So I'm going to align it. I already went ahead to notch the middle of the main bodies and that of that's the center of the lower bodies and the upper bodies. So from that part, I'm going to align it. Don't bother if you have excesses, it's still fine at the side. So once I'm done pinning, I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch it down with 1/2 inch. I'll repeat the same process for the back, but for the back, you have you don't have it as one piece, you have it as two pieces. So I'm going to put one side, right side facing right side. Make sure that you pick the side that aligns. So I'm opening up that loose stitch. That's why it is important that you create just loose stitch there so that I can easily open it up, just as I did here. So I'm aligning it and I'm pinning down. I'll do the same thing for the other side as well and take it to the sewing machine and stitch with 1/2 inch. Once that is done, you can still go ahead and continue the loose stitch around that zipper area, because the loose stitch will still continue till the point where, depending on the length of your zipper actually. So I think mine, I'll be stopping about 3 inches above the end of this. So now here is what we have for the front piece after attaching, and here is what we have for the back piece after attaching. So the next thing right now is to bring in the gathered parts. So I have two pieces gathered, one for the front and one for the back, and just like I said, I use 60 and 62.5 inches. That means the one for the back is longer. But anyways, I went ahead also to add the stitching allowance. That's the same allowance. So the one for 60 inches ended up being 62 inches. The one that is 62.5 inches ended up being 64.5 inches. So depending on the gather you have, start from that side just as you're seeing me placing, and depending on how full your gathers is, start putting together just as you're seeing me doing here. I don't want to use pins because it's really hard to use pins in this part, but just keep following what I am doing. So when you keep putting it in, looking at what you are, depending on the fullness of the fabric that you're using, just keep doing this till you get to that middle part here. When I was sewing and I got to that part, I actually raised the needle of my machine up so that I'm following that V shape. Yes, then I continued, then I put it back, and then I continue stitching. Make sure that you do not ignore that V shape that you're trying to get. When you're doing this, try to check and see that you're not putting too much, that you will not have a shortage. You see how I'm adjusting, so adjust depending on what you have. So here I'm trying to adjust so that it gets to this end. So you need to make sure that while you're doing that your gathers are even. So now I'll also show us how to go about this one for the front. So here I'm working with the one for the front, and this is what you're seeing. So when I got to this point, I left about half of an inch, then raised my machine needle up, then continued sewing so that shape is gotten, that V shape is gotten. So I kept on doing this till I got to this other side where we stop. So this is the result, and you can see that the V shape is maintained. This is the wrong side, you can see. So you can go ahead and overlook this if you have a serger available. So, and I'll go ahead and also show you what the back is looking like. So here is the back as well, and you can see the opening for the zipper, and then I'm trying to open it up, and then you can see that everything is aligning. See the wrong side, and I'm also going to show you what it's looking like on the right side. The next thing to do is to align both the front bodies and the back bodies on the side, and try to close it up on the side using the seam allowance. Seam allowance I used here was about 1 inch, a bit above 1 inch. So I'm going to use 1 inch to hold it on both sides after aligning. Make sure that when you're doing this, you align that waistline part so that even at the right side everything aligns well perfectly. And before bringing this back, I'll also go ahead to fixing the zipper. So right here I've gone ahead to close up the sides, and I've also fixed the zipper, and this is what it looks like. So I'll go ahead to hem the bottom of this dress. Yes, so you can go ahead to use a serger or to just stitch down. So the final thing is to attach sleeve. Actually, the inspiration did not have sleeve, it was sleeveless, but I decided to attach sleeves to mine. So just do you whatever you want, is fine. I actually created ropes, like 2 pieces of ropes for this side, but at the end I don't think I want it, maybe because this rope actually looking very small, I just didn't want it. So but if you want rope for yours, just as the inspiration, go ahead and create ropes and then attach it to the bodies before sewing on the sides. Yes, before closing up the sides. If you notice that some parts were skipped, it was because of the videos that I lost during the process, so I apologize for this. But anyways, I hope that still you found it useful. I hope that it was able to help you in one way or more. If you are new to my channel, do well to subscribe. I post videos weekly, helpful videos actually weekly. And then for my returning subscribers, thank you for always tuning in, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.